The journey from begging to giving. The crossroads were as busy as ever, the sound of cars, people bustling around, and the usual chaos of city life continued. Amidst all this, a young and healthy beggar sat at his usual spot, asking every passerby for help. A youthful face, eyes full of life, but a begging bowl in his hand. He would sit there all day and say, "Please give me something, sir, may you be blessed." Some people would feel pity and drop a few coins or notes. Some would ignore him. Others, irritated, would say, "Shame on you. You're young and still begging?" But their words never seemed to affect him, as if he felt no embarrassment in this lifestyle. One day, as usual, he was sitting with his bowl when a well-dressed, clean man came and stood in front of him. The beggar raised his bowl and said, "Please give me something, sir." The man stood silently for a moment and then softly asked, "You sit here every day, asking everyone. Have you ever given anything to anyone?" The question startled the beggar. A frozen smile appeared on his lips as if he didn't understand the weight of the question. Then he laughed and replied, "Sir, people like us, what could we possibly give? We're the ones in need." The man knelt down beside him and gently said, "Son, the day you learn to give something to someone, your life will begin to change." Saying this, the man walked away. The beggar smiled at that moment, but later that night, the man's question kept echoing in his mind, "Have I ever given anything to anyone?" The next day, he was back at his usual spot. The sun was shining brightly. People were coming and going, and he was holding out his bowl like always. Suddenly, a little girl, probably 7 or 8 years old, quietly approached in her school uniform and placed a 5-rupee coin into his begging bowl before turning to walk away. The beggar gently called out, "Hey, wait!" The girl stopped, turned around, and smiled at him. The beggar quickly looked around. At one corner of the intersection, there were some flower plants. He got up, gently picked a small, beautiful flower from one of them, and lovingly extended it toward the girl. "This is for you." A glow of happiness spread across the girl's face. She took the flower and said with sparkling eyes, "Thank you. Let me know if you'd like it." Those 2 words gave the beggar more joy than any amount of money he had ever received. It was as if he had discovered a hidden treasure. From that day on, he adopted a new habit. Whenever someone gave him something, he would pluck a flower from the roadside and gift it in return. People were surprised, some smiled, some were touched, and the beggar found a new kind of peace in his heart. Now he was no longer just a receiver, he had become a giver. Time passed. Days turned into weeks. Flowers began to run out. One morning, he sat at the intersection, deep in thought. How long will I keep begging? How long can this go on? He slowly reached into his pocket, counted the small amount he had saved, and made a decision. That day, he left the intersection and went to a small flower vendor in the city. He bought some flowers and returned to the same intersection, but this time he sat with a new purpose, not to beg, but to sell. From morning to evening, he sold flowers, to some for their fragrance, to others as gifts, and to some just to bring a smile. In the beginning, the flowers didn't sell much. But he worked with dedication, came on time, kept everything clean, and treated people with respect. Gradually, people began to buy from him. He would talk to them, laugh with them, and say, "This is all for your happiness." Months passed. Years went by. He was no longer a beggar. He had become the owner of a successful flower shop in the city. Outside his shop was a signboard that read, "Fragrance Givers." He was always present in his shop, well-dressed, clean, soft-spoken, and polite with every customer. The specialty of his shop was that every bouquet had a handwritten note, sayings like, "Cherry blossom, fragrance grows by sharing." "Blossom, have you ever given something to someone?" People were moved by these words and curious to know his story. Now he gave jobs to young people, paid school fees for poor children, and sent orphans to school. Many times during the day, he would sit quietly and reflect on his past. One day, he was invited to a city event. His name was included among successful people. The event was attended by many prominent individuals. As the event ended and he stepped outside, he saw a familiar face, an elderly man, with white hair and a gentle expression. The former beggar approached him and smiled. "Sir, don't you recognize me?" The man looked at him carefully and said, "I'm sorry, son, I don't think I do." The beggar, now known as a respected businessman, smiled and said, "It wasn't just a sentence. It was a message that awakened the human within me. You taught me that the joy in giving is far greater than the relief in receiving. Since that day, I've learned, the happiness in giving to others is greater than any wealth in the world." Friends, the satisfaction of earning through hard work can never be matched by receiving charity. Asking gives you temporary support. But the spirit of giving and the path of effort lead you to a place where dignity, peace, and self-respect walk alongside you. Success always kisses the feet that choose to work with their hands instead of stretching them out to beg.